if I could ask Paul Barnes to come up and do the invocation.
Good evening. My name is Paul Barnes. I'm the chaplain at Covenant Village of Turlock, and I bring you greetings from the 344 residents of our facility, the 185 employees. We get to inhabit 23 acres in the heart of Turlock, right on Olive Avenue across from Emmanuel Hospital. And we are glad to be in Turlock, and it is my privilege to pray for all of us tonight as this meeting progresses. Let us do that. Gracious God, we're grateful for this city, for the mayor, Soyseth, and the city council, for those who serve with them, the city attorney, the clerk, the city manager. Father, the previous hour with the police report and the workshop that was there. Father, we thank you for these public servants and ask for your blessing on our police and fire departments, the city servants who do so many things to keep the parks and all that is in the city. Father, what a great city this is with the fairgrounds here and the university and the wonderful schools, for the Carnegie Center, that's such a wonderful place, and for Emmanuel Hospital. Father, it's a good town, and thank you for all these citizens who gather to make it better. We stand on the eve of Ash Wednesday, which starts the Lenten season, as well as Valentine's Day. And what a wonderful coincidence that they're on the same day, because we know that it is your love that has allowed the many churches in this town to work together, to work with families, and we pray for the families of Turlock and ask your blessing. God, all these things we thank you for and ask your blessing on this meeting now as these things are considered. Give wisdom and clarity, we pray, in the name of Christ, our Lord and Savior, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now call this meeting to order. All join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. All right, good evening. Oh, I like that. Thanks, Gladys. All right. The first item, Employee of the Month. Let's give it up for City Clerk Jennifer Land. Bring her on up. Congratulations. All right, this is the nice embarrassing part where I get to read the bio about you. And for the record, she did have me sign her certificate just now. She made sure I was on top of it. Jennifer Land has been named the City of Turlock's Employee of the Month for January 2018. Jennifer Land was nominated for her kind attitude, dedication to every task, and commitment for both her position and to the city. Her positive demeanor and professionalism is evident through her willingness to work closely with fellow employees and going the extra mile. Jennifer always conducts herself in a professional and ethical manner and continues to attend training seminars to further her professional knowledge in pursuit of her CMC designation. A 15-year veteran with the city, Jennifer was initially hired on as an office assistant with the building department and promoted to staff services assistant. Jennifer was then promoted to executive administrative assistant in the municipal services department in 2012. In 2015, Jennifer trained alongside the previous city clerk and was appointed to the position of city clerk in 2016. Some of her personal hobbies: Jennifer and her fiance Josh share 2 children, Emerson and Easton. Outside of work, Jennifer enjoys spending quality time with her family, as well as some relaxing downtime down here at City Hall, just working away every Saturday and Sunday and all the other hours. Congratulations, Jennifer Land.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mayor and Council. A big thank you to those who nominated me and work alongside me every day. We have a great group of employees and leaders, so I'm very proud and honored to receive this recognition. I believe part of what makes our group so dynamic is the ongoing support and encouragement that we provide each other every day. Not only is this a reflection of what makes us a strong organization, but it also helps us to better assist our community. I also believe that we set the tone for excellence, so programs such as the Employee of the Month help us to provide the opportunity to promote and highlight those efforts. So again, I thank you very much for the recognition, and I'd also like to say that I'm amongst a great group tonight because there are several other individuals that will be honored and recognized, so congratulations to them as well. Thank you.
All right, this is the fun part. Chief Anfar, come on up and introduce our City of Turlock Police Department Employee Awards.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. It is with great pride and joy that I have this opportunity to present to you the awards recipient this year for the Turlock Police Department. The recipients were chosen from their peers. I had nothing to do with it, and neither did any of the command staff. Their peers submitted to the awards committee their recommendations along with the reasonings with it. So with that, I would like to ask Maria Ruiz to come forward. And please hold, I'm going to call everyone up here so we can get everyone up here at once. FTO Adam Neep, oh, it's not FTO, he's going to put in for FTO, he said, but Adam Neep, Officer Adam Neep. Our volunteer, Jeff Lopes, and he is also our retired police captain and used to be an explorer, so he worked his way up. And I'd also like to have our officers, let me get to the names, I'm sorry. Jacob Young, are you here, Jake? Yes, you are. Sergio Perez, Cody Lawrence, come on up. And is there anyone here from our dispatch center? I will accept on behalf of them. So our Employee of the Year is Maria Ruiz. She was selected because she serves on several committees, including Blue Santa, Open House, Widows and Orphans. She has outstanding dedication and work ethics, and she's always positive and willing to help. Maria is a great employee and asset to the Turlock Police Department and the investigations unit. She never says no. She's always there. She's always helping. So I'd like to introduce Maria Ruiz as our Employee of the Year.
Thank you. It's really an honor. That's all I really have to say. Thank you.
Maria is soft-spoken and isn't saying much, but she does a whole lot in the police department. The next award is our Officer of the Year. Adam Neep was selected as our Officer of the Year. Adam, where are you? Adam has faced numerous challenges in his career with the Turlock Police Department. He was involved in a critical incident where Adam was shot at with an assault rifle multiple times. He and other officers did return fire. The individual who was trying to kill them did not die. However, he was struck once, and Adam Neep put his weapon away, grabbed his medic bag, and immediately began life-saving services. So Adam was chosen by his peers for his dedication and his example to all of us as he commits himself to the law enforcement profession and the code of ethics. He is truly what it is to be a police officer, to protect the public, serve the public, and understand the dignity and the weight of that badge. So I commend you, and I commend our staff for choosing the Officer of the Year this year. Congratulations.
I just want to say thank you to everybody that put me in. There's so many other officers that are also deserving, and each officer at our department, they go out there on the street every day in the city, and they do exactly what I did that night. I mean, I just happened to be in the patrol car that ended up getting that call. If any of these officers right here would have gotten the same call, they would have done the exact same thing. So I'm not special by any means. It's just, I just happened to be in that spot at that time. This city's a great city, and I'm proud of the officers that work alongside me, and I'm proud of our chief. And he's taken us a long way, and he's going to take us even further. And I just want to say thank you.
And I just mentioned his name, Jeff Lopes, our retired police captain, who came back. He didn't give enough for 30 years. Was it 30 years, Jeff? Come on up. 28. Okay, 2 years. He came back and took on something that was very important to him. He came back as a volunteer, and being a volunteer in our community, in any community, is the joy of giving back to your community. It's the values that you bring back to your community, and Jeff has done that. And he took on the volunteer program, which is Explorer program, which was almost done, right, Steve? I mean, what were we down to, 4? 4. Where are we at now, Jeff? 23 Explorers. Those, outstanding. So Jeff was selected to be the Volunteer of the Year for all of his dedication to the Explorer unit. These are our young men and women of our high school aged students that are being given additional opportunities and responsibilities to get into the law enforcement career. And Jeff himself was an explorer, as I said earlier. He worked his way up to police captain. Steve Williams was an explorer, and he worked his way up to police captain. So it is a program that it's invaluable. And I thank you for all the work you've done, and it's really an honor to have you as our Volunteer of the Year. So.
Well, I want to thank everyone that nominated for this, but it really is a team effort from the support of the chief, Sergeant Shaw. Officer Perez is one of our advisors, and especially the scouts. They do most of the work that makes the post look good. So, thank you.
The Excellence Award, and I want to bring this up. We don't have any dispatchers here because they're all working. The dispatch unit has performed, I'm at a loss of words, a human being that's put behind a desk to answer the cries for help day in and day out over a phone and maintain their composure and continuously get that information out to the police officers to assist the fire department when they're responding to fires. It's just amazing. I couldn't do that job. I could walk down an alley and have someone jump and hit me with whatever, but I couldn't do the dispatching job. And our dispatching unit, under all of its struggles, working day in and day out, days off, et cetera, have continued to provide a service to our community. They were selected, and I'll read all of their names. Dispatch Supervisor Maribel Rodriguez, Dispatcher Cindy Chabra, Alex Stapler, Sonia Fisher, Katie Layton, Renee Kalinga, Jamie Inchandi Smith, Jennifer Hagar, Tracy Cook, Caitlin Carey, and Lori Lucas, Jennifer Pross, Jacqueline Moore, and part-time dispatch clerks Lydia Contreras, Jeanette Del Toro, and Alex Ortega. They've done an outstanding job, and they received the Award of Excellence for the Turlock Police Department. So on behalf of them, I accept that award and thank the community for the continued support. Our next recipient is a special commendation for Officer Jacob Young. Officer Young? And I'll just read the commendation. On Monday, December 25th, 2017, Officer Jacob Young was on patrol duty monitoring the radio and MDC, which is our mobile dispatch computer, in the vehicle. He noticed a pending call involving a vehicle versus a pedestrian collision that occurred in the area of South Center Street and East F Street, just outside the city limits. He responded quickly to the pending call due to the nature of the call and the belief that officers from primary jurisdictions would be delayed in responding. It's the Sheriff's Department and the CHP. And he's right. Officer Young arrived at the scene and saw an unresponsive female subject on the ground in the middle of the roadway. As he prepared to assess the female victim, a male subject told him the responsible vehicle and driver that struck the female was driving away westbound on West F Street. Officer Young ran towards the intersection of South Center and East F Street, where he maintained visual of the vehicle. He gave a complete description and direction of travel of the vehicle over the radio. This valuable information proved to be instrumental in apprehending the responsible subject several minutes later. Officer Young returned to the unresponsive female victim and determined she had no pulse and was not breathing. He enlisted the help of another citizen to begin chest compressions while he retrieved the CPR mask. Officer Young and the citizen began two-person CPR and completed one cycle until the citizen was relieved by a Stanislaus County deputy. Officer Young and the deputy continued with two-person CPR for approximately 4 to 5 cycles until the female let out a gasp of air. She had a pulse and she started breathing on her own again. Officer Young continued to provide support by lying flat on the asphalt, holding the female by her head to stabilize her neck. He maintained the position several minutes until a collar could be applied until he was relieved by ambulance staff. Officer Young, your actions brought the female subject back to life. You acted courageously and brought honor to yourself and the Turlock Police Department. I commend you for your actions and am honored to present you with this award of commendation. The award is outstanding job. Thank you very much.
Like Adam Neep reiterated already, I'm no special person. Everyone in my position at this police department would have done the same thing. I just want to thank my FTOs that I had throughout the training process and the great supervisors and leaders that we have at this department.
Jake, you did real well. I was telling the mayor, look at Jake, he's swallowing real hard. You did very well. Thanks. Very well. Our next two officers are the Medal of Meritorious Service, Officer Cody Lawrence and Officer Sergio Perez. So I want to read this of what occurred. On Monday, November 13, 2017, Officer Cody Lawrence and Officer Sergio Perez were dispatched to a call of a vehicle collision that occurred in the intersection of North Golden State Boulevard and West Tuolumne Road. Upon impact, the vehicle began to catch on fire, in which smoke and flames were seen coming out of the engine compartment of the vehicle. As both officers attempted to make contact with the driver, who was under the influence, he suddenly locked himself in the car and refused to come out. At this time, the fire and smoke was now visible in the interior of the vehicle. As the situation became more serious, Officer Lawrence and Officer Perez communicated with each other and developed a plan to get the citizen out of the burning vehicle. Officer Lawrence, not knowing what the citizen was doing in the vehicle, why he would be locking himself in that vehicle, when we're trying to get him out and it's on fire, took the position of lethal cover because you never know what's going to happen. You never know. While Officer Perez broke the window out and began to try to extract the driver. The driver still refused to get out of the vehicle and was basically fighting the officers while the vehicle was now engulfing itself. During the situation, both officers inhaled large amounts of smoke and were in danger of being burned. They were able to successfully get the individual out of the vehicle, and once AMR arrived on scene, although Officer Perez and Officer Lawrence were having difficulty breathing and coughing, they refused medical aid and wanted the individual first taken care of. Officer Perez's heroic actions, along with Officer Lawrence's heroic actions, exemplify going above and beyond the call of duty. They demonstrated Turlock Police Department's mission statement: as police professionals, we commit ourselves to public safety, service, and excellence, along with the law enforcement code of ethics, as they maintain courageous calm in the face of danger. Their actions are a tribute to the men and women of law enforcement and the Turlock Police Department's commitment to the community and its citizens. Therefore, let it be known that on this date, which was January 25th, 2018, Officer Sergio Perez and Officer Cody Lawrence were awarded the Turlock Police Department's Medal of Meritorious Service. Outstanding job, gentlemen.
I don't have much to say, just thank you, and thank you for everybody who was there for us, and Officer Perez and the AMR staff and everybody who came out and helped out with the call. So thank you.
Thank you to the city, thank you to the council members, thank you to our chief, and thank you to all our coworkers who recognize us. It's not every day we get recognition. We did what we were trained to do. We saved a life, thanks to God. But overall, we were trained, and that's what our job is, to save lives. I'm thankful that I made it through. I'm thankful that the person survived and is on their way to wherever they need to be. Thank you for the time. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, council, and our community, these are your police officers and support staff and volunteers for the city of Turlock. Here they are.
right. A good friend of mine, Gladys Williams, come on up. Give her a round of applause. Gladys Williams is with the NAACP, and she and I, we spent Friday together. It was a pretty good day. We had the Inclusivity Summit. Very good day. And so it was the first of many meetings. There's a couple other people that were in that room as well, and I think we were all kind of exhausted after that. And yeah, you want to come on up, Daniel? Yeah, come on up. All right. Perfect. So this proclamation is in honor of Black History Month. Whereas Black History Month is an annual celebration of achievements by African Americans and a time for recognizing the central role of African Americans in U.S. history. And whereas Black History Month was part of an initiative by writer and educator Dr. Carter G. Woodson. And whereas the Association for the Study of African American Life and History sponsored a National Negro History Week in 1926 that coincided with the birthdays of both Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. And whereas Negro History Week inspired schools and communities nationwide to organize local celebrations, establish history clubs, and host performances and lectures. And whereas President Gerald Ford officially recognized Black History Month in 1976, calling upon the public to, quote, seize the opportunity to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans in every area of endeavor throughout our history. And whereas since 1976, every United States president has proclaimed February as Black History Month. Now, therefore, I, Gary Sorseth, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Turlock, and on behalf of the entire city council and all our citizens, do hereby proclaim February 2018 as Black History Month in the city of Turlock, and urge all citizens to celebrate and learn about the contributions of African Americans in American history. Congratulations, class. Thank you so much for coming out. Absolute recording results.
Thank you, and good evening to all of you. It is a pleasure to be here before you. Your mayor is certainly a young man that you can be proud of. He has a vision for this city, and it was an honor to be a part of his program on Friday. And as you can see, a lot of thought went into this proclamation that he presented here today. It's one of the nicest proclamations that I've seen for Black History Month. So I want to commend him and the city, all of you, for the fine work that you're doing to make this a wonderful place to live. After I was here on Friday, I was ready to look for me a house here. It's that good. So you have something to be proud of. And I would like to ask for a point of privilege, if I may.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to have all of you stand, and I'd like to do one verse. We have a Negro National Anthem, which is very appropriate to go with this proclamation. And if you know it, you're more than welcome to join us. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicings rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the hope and the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope and the faith that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Thank you.
You are welcome back anytime.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. I was just telling Gladys she's welcome back anytime. All right, perfect. Head back up here. moving on to item D, Planning Commission. I am recommending the appointment of Nick Hackler. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second?
All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Scare, seconded by Councilmember Dehart. Clerk, please call the roll.
Reappointing Nick Hackler to fill a vacancy on the Planning Commission for a term set to expire on December 31st, 2021. Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember Dehart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yes.
Mayor Soisek.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Moving on to the one-time ad hoc committee, implementing the final accepted report prepared by Myers-Nave related to the lease and activities at the Chamber building and the Chamber's past and current obligations to the City of Turlock, including the repayment agreement and the city's centennial celebration. I'm nominating Councilmember Dehart because he mentioned it last time. Is there anyone else that would like to join him? Yes, Councilmember Jacob.
If I can recommend the appointment of Councilmember Bublak to that committee.
Is that okay? All right. Perfect. So we have a set a motion for both of them? Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. We have a motion by Councilmember Jacob, seconded by Councilmember Scare for Councilmember Dehart and Councilmember Bublak to serve on this ad hoc committee. Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you. Appointing Councilmember Dehart and Councilmember Bublak to serve on the ad hoc committee to implement the final accepted report prepared by Myers-Nave related to the lease and activities of the Chamber building and the Chamber's past and current obligations to the City of Turlock, including the repayment agreement and the city's centennial celebration. Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember Dehart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yes.
Mayor Soisek.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. And while we're on this item, next meeting I'm going to be bringing back an item for an ad hoc committee on campaign finance disclosures and reporting to address our resolution for some consistency on reporting going forward. And so that will be an item that you guys will see next meeting. Moving on, presentation, Pet of the Month, presented by Animal Services Supervisor Glenna Jackson. Glenna, how are you?
I'm well, and you?
Good.
Good evening, council members. So for those who don't know who I am, I'm Officer Jackson at the City of Turlock Animal Shelter. I will present to you the Pet of the Month for February. All of the adoption fees are sponsored by TMAPS, which includes a spay and neuter, microchip, first-year license, and a rabies vaccine. This is the Pet of the Month. That was from December. It is in that home. They were kind of shy. They want their pictures, but I'll let you know that it has been placed. So she's happy to be in this new home. This is the Pet of the Month. This is Cupid. I've been hiding him, I will tell you. He's been at the shelter since he's been about 8 weeks old. We kept him, make sure he was completely vaccinated, and he got neutered this morning. So Ollie, happy Valentine's present tomorrow, gets to go home the same day. So again, this adoption is for free. In addition, for this month, this is our 5th annual Stop That Loving Feeling program. I know it makes everybody laugh. We are already 13 days into it. We've already issued 30 vouchers. So for the rest of this week until the 19th, we're going to be sticking to the $50 vouchers for Chihuahuas and Terriers. But at the beginning of the 19th, that week, we're going to open it up to any dog that is 20 pounds at the time of issuance in the service. So if you have a poodle or a Shih Tzu, you can bring it on in to kind of get these programs going. It is limited to the only 100 vouchers that we have available. And again, the animal shelter is open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 2. You guys can come out and visit us on our Facebook page. Any questions?
All right, any questions or comments for Glenna? Thank you so
All right,
much.
thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Good job. I know. Go around the block. All right. Moving on. Public participation. We do have a letter that everyone received from Mr. DeMartini. So that's all for the council to see. So we're going to consider that public participation. Moving on, this is a time set aside from the members of the audience to address the council on any topic that they like. There are blue cards in the back. We are going to limit your speeches to 5 minutes. Mr. Bates, do you want to wait till 4B or do you want to speak now?
I'll speak now.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you, Council. Mayor Brad Bates, resident, 2025 Jackson Court. This council is facing challenges. One of them that has been a consistent theme has been a lack of policies, procedures, and protocol. This is something that Mr. Franson keeps harping on. This is something Mr. Johnson harps on. This is something that I'm going to comment on. I hate to keep being redundant. I was in business for over 40 years. I was on the Turlock City Council and in government for 14 years. And one thing that is never going to change, and that is that if you let small problems go, small problems turn into larger problems. And the lack of consistency is occurring right now. Now, 2 years ago, this council talked extensively about campaign finance reform. You're going to address it again. You passed standards, okay? You made quite a big deal out of a signing ceremony of standards you were going to follow. When you actually get to 4B, I'd like to speak on specifics. Right now, I'm just going to comment generally, because there is absolutely no consistency in the format of what you have been using for over 2.5 years. Not by whom, not by amount, not by time period. The only thing that is consistent between the reports that are being submitted is that all of them collectively are meaningless, and they do not do in any way, shape, or form what they were intended to do. What they were intended to do is to provide open, transparent disclosure. They do not do this. If you look at your own list tonight, they are absolutely meaningless. So, with that said, I would like to speak with specifics when you get to item 4B.
Well, thank you, Mr. Bates, and I absolutely agree with you that there is a lack of consistency, and so like I said earlier, we're going to create an ad hoc committee, and hopefully you'll be willing to meet with whoever sits on there to help get that consistency. But I think the overall goal from the council was openness and transparency with the disclosures. So thank you so much for your comments. Ms. Janice Lane. Ms. Janice Lane.
Okay, thank you, Mayor and council members. I just have a simple request. I'm not a very frequent audience member at the city council, and in fact, before today, I didn't know who I even voted for, and so, and that's still a problem, because what I would like to see is a simple city map on the wall that is divided into districts, and then have your district number on your nameplate. I think that would be helpful. I think I'm probably not the only one that is, I retired and now I've attended two meetings, but anyway, that's a request. I think it would be helpful for anyone that attends, like that we're getting special recognition. They probably have never been to a council meeting before, and it would just be helpful for the audience.
Ms. Lane, I think that's a great idea. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. If staff, if city manager, if you can look into it, see what we can do, that'd be great. Thank you for the item.
And who did you vote for?
I think I'm in district.
He'll take you, yeah. All right, Ms. Diane Bartlett, come on up for library activities.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Diane Bartlett. I'm the supervising librarian at the Turlock Public Library. And I'd like to start out tonight by thanking Mr. Mayor for attending and participating and reading to the kids at our special story time with the mayor nights. We really get a lot of positive feedback, and we really appreciate you being there and giving back to your community, raising readers. Thank you. We'll look forward to the next time. And then also on behalf of the Turlock Friends of the Public Library, Friends of the Turlock Public Library is whatever I said. I just wanted to thank everyone who helped out and who purchased books at their annual book sale. They had a wonderful year. They raised over $6,700, which is much more than they've gotten the past couple years. So thank you again for supporting the library. The funds raised go to programs at the library, materials, and portions of it will go to our building fund. And then I just wanted to highlight a couple programs, some for kids. Next Tuesday, we have the Great Valley Museum coming and presenting a program on magical magnets. This is one of those programs sponsored by the Friends of the Library. And every time the Great Valley Museum shows up at the library, it's a fantastic program. So we invite you on the 20th at 4 p.m. to that. And then you may have read in the paper about our county library outreach program. They go out and try to reach underserved populations. They are partnering with several people, including Housing Authority, National Book Foundation, Police Athletic League, Child Development Training Consortium, and Impact Group at MJC to present book-rich environment book parties where they'll have a story time, crafts, and give out free new books to low-income families. So our Turlock book party is on Thursday, the 22nd of February, between 3 and 5. It's at 653 Castor Way. Again, if you are interested at all, please just call the library, 664-8100, and we can give you more information. For teens and tweens, we invite you to learn how to crochet. One of our staff members wanted to teach, and so she's teaching how to make a crocheted hat. And that will be on Wednesday, the 21st at 4 p.m. I just have a couple openings, so again, give us a call and sign up. And then I wanted to promote something that we're working on with SCOE. They are going to be presenting a college awareness night at Turlock High School on February 22nd between 6 and 8:15. We'll be having a table there, but also many colleges will be represented. So if you or know of someone who's interested in going to college and want some information from local colleges, it's a great place to be. And then we have something for everyone, including adults. If you are looking for something to do, wanted to spend your evening with somebody, consider Blind Date with a Book. If you come into the library and see our display that looks a bunch of items that look like this, pick one up. You have some idea what's in there. This one says classic, so pick one up, check it out, and enjoy an evening with a book. Thank you so much for your time and attention.
Thank you so much, Diane. Give her a round of applause. Mr. Jeffrey Sparks, come on up.
Hello, City Council and Mayor and citizens of Turlock. My name's Jeffrey Sparks. I live at 413 Monroe Avenue in Turlock. First of all, I just want to say it's a privilege just to be able to be up here and speak about whatever I want to speak about, because it's not related to anything on the agenda tonight at all. So I have spoken at a few city council meetings before. I don't attend a lot of them, but a few years ago, after I just moved to Turlock, Mayor Soyseth presented me with a proclamation that May is Bike Month. I am a bicyclist. I rode over 10,000 miles last year on my bicycle and ran about 500. And I am moving away from Turlock after just over 3 years. This week, I'm moving from Turlock, no longer be a resident, and I'm grateful for a lot of the things I've heard here at City Council and from the community, and I would just like to take my time and this privilege to paint a sort of picture of what it's like to get around on foot and on bicycle in Turlock. So this morning, like most mornings, I was out the door with my running shoes on at 4:45 a.m., reflective vest, headlamp, and I run 1.5 miles to the gym, do my workout, run home, and that's on Gear Road. I live just at the south side of Gear, run pretty much up the whole length of Gear and back. So on the way running home, it's a narrow sidewalk where maybe one person can fit, and there's light poles every 30 feet. So if you're on a mobility scooter, there's no getting around on Gear Road. You will, and they drive their mobility scooters in the road if you're handicapped. I injured my foot pretty seriously in the last week. Piece of rebar just sticking out of the sidewalk as I was trying to dodge another pedestrian. And also, since there's power lines on the one side of the sidewalk, one side of Gear that has a sidewalk, the other side doesn't, and there's a lot of places where neither side has a sidewalk. Pigeons all up and down these power lines, so just bird, so that's what.
Can you explain?
So that's my daily grind, going to the gym. And then I get home, have breakfast, and get on my bicycle and ride 7.5 miles to Hillmar Cheese Company, where my last day is tomorrow. It's an absolute privilege to be working at Hillmar Cheese Company and live in a place with as many opportunities in food manufacturing and food technology as Turlock has. I've said this sort of thing in these meetings before. Hillmar Cheese Company has hired something like 5 PhDs since I started working there 3 years ago. We're trying to, as a food technology company, import these minds that are going to help grow the business and everything. Well, it's a real factor. I've got to tell you that bicycling and sidewalks and everything, it's a factor in attracting talent and attracting people to the city. I will give some positive comments. Downtown Turlock looks great. Awesome. That's really what attracted me. I've noticed Palm, which is right in front of my house, has been nicely paved with big, bold crosswalks. That's new, that's recent, and I appreciate that. There are not sidewalks for most of it. Not most of it, about half of it has sidewalks, so I'm still walking in the road, but it's nice and paved. But the thing is, you just can't get around on a bicycle here or walk. It's just not safely. I please, with humility and gratefulness and gratitude for all these opportunities, I did ride over 10,000 miles last year. I run most mornings, and it's not safe to get around. I have been hit by cars so many times, I've lost count. Yes. I'm not seriously injured. I call the police and report it as a collision, usually without damages, but that is a reality. And that's not due to any infrastructure. I would not say any time I've ever been hit by a car was due to anything that's due to the infrastructure directly, but please let me just paint a picture in my last few seconds here. If we invest in the infrastructure, people will ride, people will bike, the culture improves, the culture improves, people are less likely to be texting while driving, and be more, have their eyes open for me.
You can keep talking. Mr. Sparks, thank you so much. Sorry for the clock. I saw the panic in your eyes. It's okay. You can complete your thought. But I know Dr. Strom and quite a few other people in here are avid bicyclists as well, and that's something that we've been focused on as much as possible. There's a lot of room to grow and improve, and so we appreciate your feedback. Similarly, we've also kind of looked at what we need to do with our trail systems and what we can do for outdoor recreation versus big structures that are very costly versus getting people outdoors. And so we appreciate that feedback, and even though you're leaving, please keep in contact and let us know how we can keep improving our city. All right? Our city, all right? Yeah, got it? Perfect. All right, thank you so much. Is there anyone else from the audience that'd like to address the council? All right, moving on. Declaration of conflicts of interest and disqualifications. Seeing none. Moving on to item 4B, disclosure of top 10 maximum contributors. This is where Mr. Bates wanted to come speak again. 4B.
Okay, thank you again, and I'll be real direct. This can either be a question or a request, you pick. Why can't you just follow the guidelines in the very thorough Fair Political Practices guidelines? It's in the neighborhood of section 18401. The city attorney is very familiar with it. Let me just read them to you. When someone donates, and it's reportable, they require full name, street address, occupation, employer, amount, date, and this is the interesting one, the true source of the contribution. All those items are in there. Now, I would think that someone, attorney, contract attorney, finance, could put together a spreadsheet with those items on the top and 10 lines down the side and have a form that would accomplish that. Now I just want to explain to you where we've been. You folks do not understand yourselves what you signed. This is fair, equal opportunity. In no particular order, I'm going to go through your list very quickly. First of all, Mr. DeHart, you've given 10 names. Some are individuals and some are corporations, and that's it, just names. No amounts, no dates, no details, nothing, just 10 names. the TAPACs, the TAPOPAC, the advanced health technology, these are meaningless. Okay. Ms. Bublak, you've provided 10 names, names and addresses, no amounts, no dates, no time frame given, names and addresses. Mr. Scare, you provided 10 names, names and amounts, no other detail. Mr. Jacob, you have provided 10 names, no amounts, no dates, no distinction whether individual or corporation, just a list of 10 names. This is not full transparent disclosure. If the intent was for the citizens of Turlock to know who is contributing to these campaigns so we know who is financing these, this is not accomplishing it. Mayor Soyseth, your list is 116 names in alphabetical order, and you've asterisked 10 names as maximum contributors. There are no amounts, no dates, no details, no time period, and I can't even tell if it's this election cycle, okay? We just filed, as a candidate and yourself, on January 31st, our 406 reports. I'm embarrassed. Mine had one contribution and one expenditure. I cannot tell from this list, comparing it to your form filed, which of these names out of this 116 are from this reporting period of this coming election and the prior. So I would ask you if you could explain that. If I am missing something, I will apologize in advance. But I see names on this list as major contributors that I do not see on the form that was filed on January 31st. And because I am eminently interested in the campaign of 2018, I would like that addressed. So my request is, would you please follow the guidelines of the Fair Political Practices Commission and truly and honestly disclose, if you're going to do this, if you're going to put this on every agenda, make it what was intended for, a thorough evaluation of where these contributions are coming from and who is funding these campaigns. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bates. I think to answer your question, yeah, we can pause, absolutely. If you look at the Form 460, it's a cumulative per year, and actually it's a cycle of 4 years that we have for our campaign resolution. So for example, there's someone listed there in maximum that doesn't show up on this reporting cycle because the 460 only has 1 year, whereas that maximum contributor is for the whole 4 years. You're highlighting an issue that we need to talk about as an ad hoc committee as to when we should bring this forward as far as timing. That's not listed. And then also how we do that, what format. And I agree with you. There could be an easy Excel spreadsheet. That's something that we'll discuss. And I really encourage you to work with that ad hoc committee to come up with some ideas. And especially because you feel you do everything perfectly. So I would love you to be on that ad hoc committee. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Yeah. You do have 57 seconds left. Come on up. Yeah.
I thought this was an item on the agenda. This is not public participation.
We still limit comments to 5 minutes, but go ahead.
Okay. I would ask you folks to go onto the city's website and look at this list and ask yourselves, can you truly tell from this list who is funding this current campaign cycle? Now, if you can do that, then I apologize profusely, but this is meaningless. Maybe I should go back and report things that were donated to my campaign 27 years ago and make that a cumulative list. I don't know. I just think that the public deserves to know what you intended. Full, open transparency. This is not it. You can have the other 20 seconds.
Thank you for that. Again, in the resolution, it says 4 years, and so that's what we're adhering to, and so we appreciate it. I have 116 names there, all the people that donated to me, and thank you for looking up that information. Moving on, anyone else? All right. Moving on, consent calendar, we're going to be removing item D. Are there any other, permanently, any items else to be removed? All right, what's the pleasure of the council?
Advanced consent.
All right, do I have a second? All right, we have a motion by Councilmember DeHart, second by Vice Mayor Jacob. Clerk, please call the roll.
Adopting the amended consent calendar, Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember Dehart?
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak?
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob?
Yes.
Mayor Soisek?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. We have no final readings. We are going to be removing item 7A, and that'll be continued to the next regular meeting on 2/27. Moving on to scheduled matters. If it's
Mayor, if I can
oh
just
yes,
make
please
a
clarify.
procedural clarification that we're continuing the public hearing to the next regular meeting.
Correct. So,
Thank
public hearing item 7A will be continued to the next regularly scheduled meeting of 2/27. Thank you so much, City Attorney. Moving on to scheduled matters, I would like to take one item out of order, and that is actually two items, E and F. Chief, if you're ready to present on those, I know there's quite a few people here interested. This is pertaining to the workshop we had at 5 o'clock. I was trying to whisper to you earlier. Let's move these out of order.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. So before you, you have item E, requesting to authorize the city manager to offer an employment signing bonus program for lateral police officers and lateral public safety dispatchers in the amount of $16,000 per lateral. Upon successful employment, the lateral will receive $11,000 bonus, and then on the 5th year anniversary, receive the final $5,000. We're asking to authorize the city manager to execute an employment signing bonus agreement approved as to form by the city attorney. Before you is the plan to bring forth a signing bonus utilizing our salary savings from staffing that we have not been able to successfully bring on board with the police department. We're currently staffed at 78 authorized personnel. We have 4 current vacancies and anticipating multiple more. We have approximately $300,000 in salary savings, and I'm bringing forth a request to allow the signing bonus, moving $96,000 from that signing salary savings and putting it into an account for signing bonuses in any combination for 6 laterals, whether there are 3 officers, 3 dispatchers, 4 officers, 2 dispatchers. And the hope is to bring experienced staff to the police department to help us bring to fruition the demands on the police department up front while we're trying to address the issues of losing staffing on the back end.
All right. Any question or comments for the audience? We've had an hour-long workshop on this, and the chief's been working with us. So, just to give you guys a heads up. Yes, Councilmember Scare.
Yeah, just a question. Okay, so we've got the resolution to approve city manager to proceed, but didn't we talk about tightening up the language? Is this just starting the issue, instigating the program, or, I mean, I'm
What
not-
do you mean
I'm sure.
tightening up the
Well,
language?
we talked about the language in the,
Yeah.
so are we gonna work on that first, or is that gonna be done afterwards? How is that?
Yeah.
So we're currently working on the language, melding a few agreements together to make it a more comprehensive agreement. With this action, the city manager would have the authority to execute those agreements as long as they're approved as to form by the city attorney. If you want us to bring that agreement back prior to the city manager having that authority, we can certainly do that. So whatever the pleasure of the council is. You can authorize that authority now, or we can bring back the agreement, and you can review the agreement, we can go from there.
For those in the audience, it's the difference between authorizing to go through this program and then the agreement is the actual language, the actual contract that they've signed, correct? Yes, Councilmember Bublak.
It's not a trust thing, but I know since I'm an expert in law enforcement after 23 years, I kind of want to look at it. I don't want us to emulate another city that I've worked at. I think Turlock has its sole purpose is to show Turlock off, and I think there are a couple things that I'd like to see before it goes forward. I don't want to hinder the process. I have no problem just going in and looking at it in the city attorney's office or something, but I want to make sure that the things I brought up are addressed and not just dismissed. I want to know that my voice is heard, at least at this point.
Is there what? Oh, sorry, Councilmember Scare.
That's okay. I feel the same way. We did talk about tightening up some, and I would like to see the actual language before we say, okay, go for it. So, yeah, if you can work it, put the language together and then let us review it, that would be, again, I don't want to hinder it either. I don't want to postpone it any longer than we have to, but I want to make sure that we do tighten it up like we talked about earlier.
So,
yes.
So I think procedurally, just the way I would do that is, this is the agreement that I would approve as to form. So that's the authorization you're looking at here. You can review the agreement if you have concerns, and we can obviously bring it forward back to the entire council for review.
Right.
So in regards to the agreement, it was attached to your document, but the city attorney is correct. It was a document that was taken from another agency that is utilizing it currently, but as Councilmember Esquer brought up during our workshop, it needs to be it needs to tighten up a little bit. There's no discussion in there in regards to taxes are being removed, et cetera, when we know in fact that must happen. And there's some other minor issues that we can put in there, and we're working on combining those numbers. If the council chooses to postpone this signing bonus, it does affect our ability to bring on having an opportunity to grab laterals. And as I've stated in the workshop, I'm down 4 positions now, and I know for a fact 2 more are going to an agency that we can't compete with regarding salary. So if I don't have a tool to bring on, at least offer a signing bonus, we're in trouble.
Yeah, and I have to echo what the chief is saying. There's no one that's going to be signing on the dotted line between now and the next meeting as far as the contract that's going to be brought forward, but I do want you to have the authorization to go out and immediately start advertising and recruiting so that we can bring people in. And so I have a comfort level here because, again, we can review we're going to pass this, but we can review it and bring it back if there's any additional feedback or comments. Correct? Yeah. Does that make sense? Any additional question or comments here or from the public? Sorry, on this item. Yes, please come forward. Yeah. Sorry, the microphone. It's the rule.
Come on, you can do it, Terry.
It's really scary for me.
Don't be, I'm not scared. I'll stand next to you.
I don't speak in public, but I feel really strongly about this. In support of Chief Amplefar's strategies and plan, I believe the simple solution we have, which will ultimately save hundreds of thousands of dollars, would be to simply make Turlock's law enforcement salaries to be competitive with other areas. For instance, if we spend $150,000 to $200,000 to train a new police officer, then he leaves for greener pastures, we have thrown that money down the drain. And we start over again, possibly with the same result. Another $200,000 down the drain. Do it the same way, get the same results. Higher competitive pay will simply attract more candidates, better than a signing bonus, or even with a signing bonus. It will also reward longtime officers and non-sworns, increasing their feelings of loyalty and self-worth and incentive to stay. Once they stay, we have not lost the $200,000 we invested in that employee. That's a $200,000 savings. Therefore, it seems the time has come for Turlock to bite the bullet and save money by retaining officers we have invested the money to train. A suggestion would be to match the salaries of state police officers who earn more and possibly have cushier jobs. You think? No? Am I wrong? I don't know. I'm guessing. We will soon be saving money by retaining our trained officers. Stop the bleeding so we can move forward in fully staffing our police force. I did say my name. I'm Terry Shaver.
Yeah, Terry Shaver, absolutely. Yeah.
I live in Turlock.
Thank you so much, Terry. Appreciate it. Did good. Really good. Thank you. Any additional comments or questions? Yes, Brandon.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. I appreciate the opportunity to add to what the chief has shared with you regarding signing bonuses. My name's Brandon Bertram. I'm the president of Turlock Associated Police Officers. I represent, as the president, the sworn personnel at the police department, police officers, corporals and sergeants, and non-sworn personnel, including community service officers, animal control officers, and dispatchers. We have a catastrophic situation getting ready to happen at our police department with respect to staffing. I think that the chief, the captains, the command staff at the police department have come forward with the only means available to them as management of the police department to try to assist in improving staffing conditions at our police department. I can't do justice to what I need to share with you in 5 minutes to go into the decades of history that have gotten us to where we're at now. With respect to your comment, ma'am, about the salary comparisons and the deficiencies, it's catastrophically worse than you can imagine. There was a total comp study that was completed back in November of 2016, which placed us in a salary comparison 25% behind the median of our average of comparison cities. Every one of those comparison cities has since received salary increases far beyond what we've received. So we are even further behind. And this is the crux of the issue. I feel that the questions always come up in conversations with the council and the mayor. How do the signing bonuses benefit us? And that's incredibly difficult to articulate. In simplest terms, we need employees. We need support staff, and we need officers. We cannot continue to do more with the lessening numbers that we have. This is one means of solving that problem. We have the potential of recruiting laterals from smaller agencies that might not otherwise consider applying here if those signing bonuses that are being recommended by our administration aren't implemented. The chief has shared with you and shared with you in the previous meeting that we have 4 officers that we're aware of in backgrounds. I have a note in my pocket for an officer that he's completely unaware of that's going through a background process with a telephone number for a background officer for that agency. We are continuing to hemorrhage personnel. It's because of the workload, it's because of understaffing, and this is the only resource available to them, our administration, to try to stop that. Everything else revolves around contract negotiations, and we're going to have those conversations. But I think these gentlemen in our administration are doing everything they can to try to help the police department and the city and the community. And I hope you consider not kicking this down the road and dealing with it tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Brandon. Chief, I know that the city that will not be named up the road that has a very similar program that implemented a year ago, that was kind of on the table for us. Can you talk about the evolution between then and now as to how we got here to where we really need this?
I'm trying to absorb his comment that he has one more person leaving. So the city of Modesto had a signing bonus of $4,000. As I stated in our workshop, police officers and dispatchers are a highly sought after, skilled group of individuals. And there are just so many criterias in order to become a police officer or dispatcher. It's daunting. And then the requirements on top of what we're seeing going on in our world, it just adds to it. So the city of Modesto has a full-time recruitment team, but it was not enough. Along with their salary increases that they got was not enough. They went back to their council and asked for signing bonuses. So they went from $4,000 to $15,000, $10,000 up front, $5,000 on the completion of the 5th year anniversary. And that $5,000 was the carrot, utilizing the city attorney's word there. So I like that word, Phaedra. So utilizing that carrot to keep them there that whole 5 years. And I understand what Councilmember Esquer is saying. We need something in this agreement that tightens that up, and we're going to get that. But the bottom line is when I spoke to Chief Carroll, how successful were you? He told me he had 4 in the chute, meaning 4 right now lined up to go. I didn't know one of them was ours. And 4 more coming on board. So at this point, I don't know what happened with those 4, but it's been successful with them and bringing on their laterals. And we we haven't discussed this, but I will tell you that the city of Tracy, who we cannot compare to, we can't compare to it, and I wouldn't ask us to. That's just crazy. They're going to be very impactful on our area law enforcement shortly. They're in contract negotiations with the city of Lathrop to offer services, and once that happens, not only us, but Modesto and the other agencies in this area will suffer greatly. So I'm hoping to get ahead of that and get individuals here with the signing bonus, lock them in when we get our agreement ironed out, and have them on board to enjoy this community support along with the benefits of working here. And as the TAPL President Bertram stated, the rest is your policy decisions during negotiations that I can't represent that labor group, but I wholeheartedly support my officers and my dispatchers. Got to pay them to keep them, end of story. So I'm hoping that this signing bonus, we can utilize that tool at zero expense to say to the city and take a chance to bring on 6.
Perfect. Thank you. Any additional questions or comments? All right. Yeah. Tim.
Tim Red, I'm the Vice President of TAPO. Brandon's more of a polished edge, I'm more of a blunt instrument. Basically, if this program doesn't work, the city's not out anything, okay? The chief needs the tool to do it now. We wouldn't ask for an officer to hold off carrying a gun, but ask him to protect the streets. And I do respect council members' 23 years of service in the profession, and I do respect all of your interest in making sure that the contract's right. But in that, I would put the faith in our city attorney, and I don't know whether you can just do a drive-by and see if it's running or not, but to put this tool out further so that the chief can't use it, I think is a mistake at this point.
Are you advocating drive-bys right now? Is that what we're doing right here?
It's a detective thing.
All right, got it.
So I would ask the council to approve the motion that, or the resolution that's in your agenda this evening, with the caveat that every one of you has an opportunity to view this, but it gives the city manager the authority to implement this tool so the chief can use it to try to bring us some talent, because our people are hurting bad.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tim. Absolutely. Any additional comments or questions? Yes, please. Come on up. Yeah. I know. She went from not wanting to speak, and now she's stealing other time. I like it. You're fine.
Well, it seems to me that the money you save by one person who doesn't leave,
Correct.
that goes a long way towards paying everybody higher salaries. Right there. I'll bet it covers it. Just a thought. I have another thing, but I forgot it. Oh, I was going to read, but I couldn't find it, a very emotional thing about what a police officer does. I wish I could have found it, but I'd cry when I read it. How they often find themselves telling someone everything's all right while they're holding them as they're dying in the street after an accident. He says, everything's going to be fine, everything's going to be fine, but he knows that person is going to die. And when they have to go to a person's home and tell them their child has been in an accident, the things police officers deal with, I can't even imagine that. And they put their lives on the line for us all the time. And we have the best police officers, I know we do, and the best police chief. But to not pay them what they're worth for putting their lives on the line, it's wrong. It's wrong.
Thank you so much, Terry. Any additional questions or comments? All right, bring it back to the council. Yes, I see you going for the button, Councilmember Bublak.
So I'm sure maybe there's a miscommunication. I have no problem with this, and I've told the chief before that I think this is way overdue. I can't believe it didn't make it sooner to our table. I think this should have been on the agenda months and months ago, because we were talking back then about the bleeding. So this is a Band-Aid to basically a artery that's squirting around here, if I can get horrific for you. Tim and I are more alike than I thought. So, but my biggest issue is I just want to know, I want you to know, Chief, that I want you to get it started right away, but if there's something you don't like with it, tell us immediately. If you're just like, you know what, this verbiage bothers me, because contractually, we need to make sure we're doing it right and that we don't get messed up and leave something open. And no disrespect to you, Ms. Norton, I just want to make sure with your experience that you can get this going and that you know when you're looking at it, hey, wait a minute, I think you need to look at it this way. I want them to hear you as well.
And I appreciate that, and I know you're 100% in support. And I have been speaking with the City Attorney Norton as of Thursday. So we've been working on tightening it up, and I've got to tell you, she pointed out some of the issues on it, and I wholeheartedly agree with her, and I thank her for that. Because the stronger we can make it, as Councilman Member Esquer says, the longer I can hold them here for that 5 years. And just as Terry is stating, we can't afford to keep losing the officers because of the cost associated with it. So it's a tool that I'd like to get going, and I ask you to trust me and trust the city attorney to work together to make sure that that is covered. I think you all know me. I will not bring something forward that is detrimental to this city, period.
Yes, additional, yeah.
Yes, first of all, Chief, thank you. All you guys, thank you for your service. I appreciate everything you guys do. I know how hard it is. I know what Terry's talking about, some of the things you guys have to do. And like Adam and Jeff spoke earlier, they said they're not special. They are definitely special because it takes a special person to put on that uniform and do the things that you guys have to do for us every day. You have to protect us sometimes from ourselves because I see what you have to deal with out there sometimes. And when I look at this program, okay, I look at a temporary fix. I'm still concerned with the other 70-some-odd officers here. And okay, this is a temporary fix to bring on some new blood, laterals, whatever we need. But I still want to continue to look and see how we take care of the rest of our guys as well.
Yes, Councilmember Diar.
So Mayor and Chief, just for the time being, I'm proudly requesting that we advance this. That's in the form of a motion, Mayor.
All right. I knew there was going to be a race for the buttons for that one. All right, yes, a motion by Councilmember DeHart, seconded by Vice Mayor Jacob. And before we call the roll, to echo your sentiments, that is part of the reason why we are jumping into negotiations early, as I keep stating, so that we can address the other issues surrounding our police department and Ms. Shaver's comments as well. So thank you so much. All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Clerk, please call the roll.
Authorizing the city manager to offer an employment signing bonus program for lateral police officers and lateral public safety dispatchers in the amount of $16,000 per lateral. Upon successful employment, the lateral will receive the first $11,000 bonus, and on the 5th-year anniversary of employment, the lateral will receive the remaining $5,000 bonus. And authorizing the city manager to execute an employment signing bonus agreement approved as to form by the city attorney. Councilmember Esquer?
Yes.
Councilmember DeHart?
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak?
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob?
Yes.
Mayor Soise?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. If you're okay, can we jump to item F?
Yes, sir. Mayor and council members, Captain Williams, if you'd please come up here with me. Captain Williams was instrumental in this portion of it, and he's been instrumental in being my right hand, and I want to acknowledge that in front of all of you. Captain Pacheco, who is not here, has also been instrumental. But Steve acknowledged this issue with our most recent candidate pool for police officer trainee, where we were unable to bring on 6 viable police officer trainee candidates. We've never had 6 come before us. I believe we had 130-something, I can't remember the exact numbers, took a written test and passed the interview with us, and then went to the post-appellate B course where they have to take an exam and pass it. And we had a huge number pass that and go to our command. So 6 were there. We were unable to grab all 6 because I only at the time had 3 positions, and now obviously we see we have a lot more. But at that time I only had 3. And if I had the ability to overhire, because I knew at that time we had 3 more positions possibly coming open, this would have saved those 6. Now we're starting over again, and there's a huge cost to recruitment, as Terry mentioned. So this is before council requesting to authorize your chief of police to engage in an overhire recruitment strategy of no more than 2 sworn and 2 non-sworn positions to fill anticipated vacancies within the police department. This does not allow me to increase our numbers. This allows me to hire from a validated candidate pool immediately when I have done my due diligence to ensure that the information I have is accurate in order to replace those individuals before they leave. And there is a cost associated with it, and the cost actually differs depending on where you are when we do the overhire. If we're near our fiscal year end and I have a vacancy that's coming up with a month and I bring that individual on, we're going to have that month of salary that we're going to have to absorb, and we can do that through our salary savings. We have it constantly every year. Captain Williams was instrumental in putting in your packet some examples for you to look at. But it's very fluid in the way it's going to work. And I ask that you trust in your police chief, that they do their job in determining when those vacancies are coming. And that's what you have before you. Captain Williams, you have anything to add to that?
Just real quick.
Yes.
Thanks, Chief. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. The chief has done a lot of presenting and explaining and answering questions, and about every third or fourth sentence, he will thank a staff member. So I just want to take the time to thank the chief publicly. See, you embarrassed me by bringing me up here. I get to return. Thank you, Chief, very much for all the work that you've done in putting this entire program together. And as he mentioned in the workshop, it is a complete package. It is a signing bonus, an overhire, an increase the staffing strategy, and a salary strategy. Any one of those 4 probably wouldn't work independently, but together as a complete package, 2 of which we can address tonight, the overhire and the signing bonus, and 2 of which we cannot address tonight because that's for a different time. But I just want to thank the chief for all the time and work that he's put into this presentation tonight.
Nice. Let's get this passed. All right, what are the comments or questions from the council or the audience on this? All right, bring it back to the council. What's the pleasure of council?
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Vice Mayor Jacobs, seconded by Councilmember Bublak. Clerk, please call the roll.
Authorizing the chief of police to engage in an overhire recruitment strategy of no more than 2 sworn and 2 non-sworn positions to fill anticipated vacancies within the police department. Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember Dehart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob.
Yes.
Mayor Soised.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Thank you so much, Chief, for all your work on this.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council. It's much appreciated by me, and I know Captain Williams, and by our staff. You sent a clear message. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Sorry, Clerk, I'm going to take another item out of order, and I'd like to go with item 8D, a request to direct the mailer insert supporting the Not in Our Community resolution to be included in the March 2018 utility bill. Interim City Manager.
Mayor and Council, on September 26, 2017, City Council adopted resolution number 2017-243, supporting the Not in Our Community initiative, opposing any acts of discrimination. As a follow-up, community members requested that the resolution be included as a mailer in the utility bill. Mayor Soiseth directed staff to carry out this directive and explore options. The item before you is the mailer insert front and back. With your direction, it will be included in the March 2018 utility bills. The cost to print the insert is approximately $2,000.
Thank you so much. I do have one question. It's actually for the city attorney. Did you vet this? I believe I'm setting you up. I know you did. But did you vet this through the Fair Political Practices Commission? I know with mailers. And were there any changes that you needed to make?
We did, and in fact, there were changes to the documents that are attached in your agenda packet that would not make this a mass mailing, which is one of the concerns. And then we also asked if there were any other concerns the FPPC had, and they indicated there were not.
Okay, perfect. Any additional comments or questions from the council or the audience? I have a couple blue cards. Danielle Ray Reyes, if you want to come on up. Yeah, she is. Sorry to make you wait, but thank you so much.
I'm very happy for the outcomes. It's great for our town. Okay, so what are the changes? I mean, because like we don't know. Is that what we want to know? Yeah.
So the changes to the letter actually had the mayor's name and his title, and each of the individual council members' name and title. When you specifically identify individuals and you are going to mail it to the number of residents where you're going to mail it to, that would violate the mass mailing requirements. So the way that it was corrected is it says Turlock City Council without identifying any particular individual. The letter.
Can you
haven't
can you
seen
put it
item
on?
the
Can you
back?
put it on the overhead?
It's in the agenda packet, yeah.
You don't have to, you can't click it, the website. Here, you wanna look at mine?
I'm recalling my time. Oh, I'm sorry.
I think you have a caveat to it. Yeah, we're going to give you a little bit more time.
So your question was the content or the FPPC issue? I took it to be the FPPC issue. So if you just wanna see the content.
Yeah, could we? That would be great.
Absolutely.
That would be a great beginning.
So I can, if, I'll read it. I'll read it out loud, and then we'll make it a little louder. You're welcome, Danielle. On September 26, 2017, the City Council of the City of Turlock unanimously adopted Resolution Number 2017-243. A copy of the body of the resolution, provided on the reverse side of this page, aims to set the standard for Turlock as a community that has an inclusive, diverse vision for all residents. Your City Council is committed to fostering and protecting diversity, ensuring that all people in our town are made to feel welcome, accepted, and safe. Turlock is respected throughout the Central Valley due to its strong economic base and quality of life. We believe that this begins and depends on the quality of interactions among our community members. From our leaders, faith-based organizations, other non-governmental organizations, and educators, to our neighbors, parents, and children, Turlock citizens have made our community into the region's greatest city. May this resolution be a reminder to us all that it is a fundamental right to be safe and accepted as part of this community and to be treated with respect and kindness. Your council respectfully asks you to join our efforts to celebrate our differences, to increase our understanding of others, and to set the example of what tolerance and acceptance means in the Central Valley. Sincerely, the Turlock City Council. And then on the reverse would be the resolution.
Well, this is the first I've seen of it, and, you know, being a group of teachers, of course, we would want to nitpick it to pieces, but, so, I don't know, I can't say this is acceptable for all of us. I mean, it's good. I don't know why we need to sell Turlock as a community in the center of the letter. I don't quite get that, but I'm happy to see the resolution here. I'm happy to see that the City Council is supporting it. I don't see the difference between your names and not your names, because there's a date and we can go back and figure out who was involved and who was responsible at that time for accepting and signing the letter. So I don't know.
On that last point, it is, like I said, a mass mailing thing. We're all elected officials, but at the same time, we have an obligation to adhere to not using public sources of funds to promote ourselves, and so that's why I believe you checked with the FPPC.
Okay.
I would gladly put my name on this. In fact, I wish I could put my name
Yeah,
on this.
I get it. That's so interesting. I was just at a school the other day, and everybody's names are on a board outside the school, and I wonder how that's different than, I mean, you know, like everybody's name, all the city council and the mayor and that sort of thing. So I don't see how that's different, unless it's a mailer. I don't know.
That's the key.
The mailer is the key. If it's just a sign outside a school, it doesn't matter that everybody's name is there.
With respect to this issue, the fact that it's a mailer is the key, and the number of residents we're sending it to, and that's why also we're putting the body of the resolution but we're not putting the individual names of the council members as we normally do. We removed that, but the body of the resolution has stayed exactly the same.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate your following through on this, and we're going to get it in March, so I didn't have to bring my bill tonight and show you all.
We were afraid of that.
I know. I thought about it, but I thought, oh, I don't want to harangue you too much. But thank you very much.
Thank you for your patience. Appreciate it. Danielle Reyes or Dr. Strom or anyone else? There we go. Danielle.
Good evening, council members. So this is a great start. We appreciate the letter and making this step of faith to not let this issue that's been plaguing our community for the last 5 months go unanswered and addressed in our community. A little just things that I saw in the letter, I think it's too much. It's a bold and great statement, and it's faith-based and it's from the heart, and I'm sure. But I think just a basic message like Gladys's. Do you have your signs with you, Gladys? Your signs? Not in our community, not in our town? I have one in my car. Just basically a statement saying that Turlock says no to hate crimes would just suffice, I think. I think that's the biggest message, as we know that we're continuing to see hate crimes in our community. And issues with white supremacist groups are continuing to arise, and there's continuing to be situations on the daily or weekly. So I appreciate this step of faith. It is not falling on deaf ears, and we truly, truly do appreciate it. And it's been a long road to get here. So hopefully with this public declaration and the declaration maybe on some public social media websites from the city, is that the same thing, Phaedra?
We can certainly post this on our
Social media websites. Just, kind of reiterating what the chief has already done with our Say No to Hate campaign through the city would really be appreciated. So just want to say thank you. We appreciate that. Sorry, I was unaware that this was coming for council tonight, so I kind of just speaking on the fly, but I appreciate you taking the time to really put this and agendize this and making it a priority for our city.
Hey, absolutely. When you get a utility bill waved at you, calling you a liar, we get this really quickly on the agenda, so I appreciate it. I'm teasing. It probably was a fan. Dr. Strom, if you want to come speak, and I don't know if any of you want to speak about some of the issues we addressed on Friday, Mr. Truweiler or something, because you're right, this is the first step in quite a few steps we're going to take as a community. Hey, Dr.
And
Strom.
I also would like to say, in addition to Chief Emafair's social media posting, not in our town, Councilmember Bublak also posted something, if I recall correctly. And so thank you also. And I look forward to one from all the rest of you. I will be happy to write it for you. I'm not sure you'll like it, but I'll write it for you. So one of the things. Right? Feels that way. The one thing I'm going to say is I'm wondering if you could strike the word tolerance. So here's my thing about tolerance. I think tolerance sucks. Because tolerance is like, okay, I really don't like you, but I'm going to tolerate you because I feel like I have to. And I feel like that word is, I like the other part, acceptance, right? Because acceptance, you don't have to believe in what somebody else believes. You don't have to agree with what somebody else agrees with, but you do accept the fact that they have the right to exist. They have that right to believe their beliefs, etc., right? Like, I know that you beyond tolerate me. You accept me, even though I drive you crazy. Right? So, just making that point. Thank you. And then the other thing I was wondering about was if there should be like a phone number for the non-emergency dispatch or something like, hey,
if you see something kind of crappy happening, you see a sign that doesn't seem to belong, you see a sticker posted somewhere, whatever, call this number, let us know where you're seeing this, and that way, you know, somebody in authority could come out and take a look and see if that needs to be dealt with. So that's what I have for you. And again, thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. City Attorney, if we altered this letter, do we have to go back through the FPPC and all that? We can alter some of the substance of it. I'm just
Yeah,
making
you
sure.
can alter the substance, as
Perfect.
long as you don't start putting all your individual names in this.
Right, no names. But I like the idea of striking in the sentence straight up saying to set the example of what acceptance means in the Central Valley. I like that addition, so thank you. And then I'm looking for on the second to last paragraph of trying to say if you don't feel safe, and I mean I'm trying to figure out wording just to put the non-emergency number. I don't know.
If you see instances of hate that don't embody the morals of our community, please call this number.
So clerk will rewatch the video and we'll put that in there.
I'm very verbose at times. Also a teacher by craft.
So if we could try and add those two, yeah.
So we had the pleasure, Dr. Strom and I had the pleasure of sitting on the Diversity and Inclusion Summit that was hosted by with Gladys.
And Milt Weiler.
And Milt, my cousin.
Yeah, our cousin Milt.
And Phaedra, my other cousin.
And the mayor.
And the mayor, my other cousin. And actually, literally, there were some of my cousins on the panel. I found out later. So we had the pleasure of sitting on the Inclusion Summit. So really positive experience. It was 8 hours of dialogue, talking about a variety of issues, including tough topics for people to unpack. We had major faith-based leaders of our community, from the Punjabi community in the Sikh temple to Christian-based centers like Monte Vista Chapel, major people from the university that was co-hosting the summit with the city of Turlock and our mayor. Dr. Lynn Murphy facilitated it. So basically, we just had a lot of courageous conversations and did a lot of brainstorming and community building to kind of combat some of the divisiveness that's been happening in our community in the last, I don't want to say the last 5 months because it's probably longer than that, but since its existence. So we had a big, hairy, audacious goal, but we did really well and were respectful of one another's beliefs and really came away with it with this embodiment that we are all team members and members of community in Turlock, and that we are all vested in positive outcomes for the community of Turlock.
Yes.
Did I miss something?
No, well said.
Okay.
And just to piggyback off that is that this letter, we understand that this is, like I said, one step, and then that Inclusivity Summit hopefully will bleed out with some other ideas. Gladys, again, I'm the one that fell short on the posters, bringing them back in. I gave them to Stacy, but we're going to have some posters and different things, and you can launch kind of a community outreach on that when it comes to hate. And I know the Stanislaus State is launching something as well, so we're going to contemplate that probably as a city. How do we fit in with all that? And we're going to look for your guidance.
Yeah. And Stanislaus State has reached out to me and several members of the committee since the summit. We've been brainstorming some things to do, and TSC has also been instrumental in jumping on the bandwagon for that too. So we appreciate your support in the continued diligence to really have a tight-knit lock on this issues that are occurring in Turlock, and really being proactive and aggressive in the sense that and fighting hate.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. Give me a round of applause for all their efforts. Come on, yes, Councilmember Scare.
I just had a quick comment just to let you know that, again, that this is not over. I also spoke with the chief, and we want to get together with the various neighborhood watch groups in Turlock. We're going to have a meeting with as many of them as we can get in the room, and we're going to keep pushing this. So it's still ongoing. It's not over.
There's an app where all the neighborhood watch groups are essential.
Thank you.
In Turlock, yeah. So that's how I found out about the stickers.
Mr. Treeweiler.
Yes, Mayor and Council, Milt Treeweiler. A united stand is what we need to make a difference, and this is a united stand. I totally support it, and I think getting this mailer out in March will be great. I do have a question for the attorney. I already have one of the signs, and I'm going to play Pinochle at the Senior Center tomorrow that I got from Gladys. Is it okay to put that up, or is there some procedure that has to be followed to post that sign at our Turlock Senior Center?
I see the director over there shaking her head that you're good to go.
I will do that. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. Any additional comments or questions? Yes, come on up. Is that Ms. Dew? I can't see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good evening. Thank you. Just a quick one. Just wanted the council to know that our committee, it's a small activist group called Be the Change. We continue to work through this problem and extend the information and request assistance from other groups. So we, as a group, attended the school board meeting last Tuesday. We are asking them to put the same, not in our community, proclamation. They already have a proclamation of supporting equality and against racism for the school district, but it doesn't have as much strength as this one does. So we are going to ask them to please adopt the one that is identical to the cities. We've also spoken with the teachers union, and they are fielding candidates, of course, for the school district elections. And we are hoping that they'll be consistent with our message. We've also said, would you like to put something of our message into the platform for the teachers union? They're going to consider it. What was not mentioned that I heard tonight was that Crime Stoppers, are they offering a reward or no? They're offering a reward for any information regarding to the apprehension and I guess prosecution of people who are doing this work. There is additional things that are happening. I attended the coffee with the chief police. We discussed it. There are groups that are mobilizing on the other side that are against what we are proposing. It's a reaction and a counter-reaction. So again, we have to continue spreading our discussion, notifying people. If you know of anyone who would like to have one of us come and talk to a group. I've considered going to service clubs. I have considered going before any other groups that I've met. I met people on the Women's March, which was last month, asking for people to buy in, to consider this, and also consider that it is not just a Turlock problem, but it is a systemic problem. Specifically, I only have as much reach as this county, but it's a systemic problem that, if you think about it, it's also happening in Sacramento. It was just on the news. It's also happening in Elk Grove. So these things are very real, and it's spreading. So we have to be consistent with our message and keep fighting it. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Anybody else from the audience? All right, bringing it back to council. What's the pleasure of the council? Yes, Councilmember Bublak.
First, I'd like to apologize to all of you on behalf of the elected officials. It shouldn't have taken this long to do this. I'm glad we've got it here now. And just to kind of piggyback off of what you were talking about on the front page, I think if we condensed it a little bit, and I'm one of those people that if an email or a piece of paper comes through and it all looks the same, I just, in my mind, I say TLDNR, too long, did not read. And so if we could put two round circles, one having to do with Crime Stoppers and another about calling 911 or the off number, if we could put that in there and kind of make it more catch your eye, because if both sides are saying the same thing, I don't think we're educating the public that we need them to be aware. My other comment would be that I think I would hope that we could post this wherever we post our mission statement so that everyone knows that this is something that's important to us. And if nobody wants to talk, thank you. I'll introduce the motion.
Second.
All right. Though I like the comments, kind of need some fidelity. So do you want to work on what your vision was on the substance?
My artist
Yeah, I don't know what that
stick figures?
looks like.
Sure.
Okay, we're gonna we're gonna trust Councilmember Bublak on this one. All right. So yes, please work with staff on adding that valuable information. I like that, and then incorporating the 2 changes that we talked about. So thank you. And I have a second by Councilmember Dehart. Clerk, please call the roll.
Directing the mailer insert supporting the Not in Our Community resolution to be included in the March 2018 utility bill with the proposed changes. Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember Dehart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yes.
Mayor Soisek.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. All right, thank you guys for staying on top of things. Thank you so much. All right, moving on back to order. 8A, a request to determine the closure for the 2018 Kettle Dash is exempt from the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act, and approve a special event permit application authorizing the associated street closure and authorizing the city manager to apply appropriate conditions and restrictions on the street closure. Ms. Trainee, how are you?
Good, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. On November 28th, 2017, the co-applicants Kimberly Wisdorf and Nick Hackler of the Salvation Army submitted a special event permit application to the Parks, Recreation, and Public Facilities Department. They are proposing to hold the 2018 Kettle Dash on March 17th, 2018 from 9 a.m. to approximately 12:30 p.m. The applicant has requested the closure of North Broadway between West Olive Avenue and Orchard Street from 7 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., as well as North Broadway between Orchard Street and North Front Street from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. These closures have been requested for pedestrian safety as well as event purposes. The proposed closure will not significantly affect traffic flow within the area. Staff supports the closure of the street sections as specified with the appropriate conditions and restrictions which have been agreed upon by the applicant. City of Turlock Traffic Engineering has reviewed this closure request. City of Turlock Special Event Committee has reviewed the application, and property owners directly affected by these closures have been notified and invited to participate in this evening's public hearing. And if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them.
Any questions or comments for Mrs. Trainee? Any questions or comments from the audience? All right, bringing it back. Who's going to be running in the Kettle Dash? Anybody? I think I'm going to. There's a dog feature now. I guess you can walk
Yes.
the dog. That's pretty cool.
Yes, there's the 5K, 10K, and a dog walk.
So there might be an appearance of Dash on that one. All right, so what's the pleasure of the council? All right, we have a motion by Vice Mayor Jacob, seconded by Councilmember Scare for, can we take one at a time? The first resolution, thank you.
Determining the closure of sections of Broadway between West Olive Avenue and North Front Street for the Salvation Army to host the 2018 Kettle Dash is exempt from the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, in accordance with Section 15304, minor alterations to land of the CEQA guidelines. Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember Dehart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yes.
Mayor Soisek.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. What's the pleasure of the council on the second resolution?
Second?
We have a motion by Councilmember Scare, seconded by Councilmember Dehart. Clerk, please call the roll.
Approving a special event permit application for the 2018 Kettle Dash hosted by the Salvation Army, authorizing the associated closure of sections of Broadway between West Olive Avenue and North Front Street for pedestrian safety on Saturday, March 17th, 2018 at specified times, and authorizing the city manager to apply appropriate conditions and restrictions on the street closure. Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember Dehart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yes.
Mayor Soisek.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Ms.
much.
Sandberg. All right, moving on to item 8B, a request to issue a 2018 sidewalk sale annual permit to the Turlock Downtown Property Owners Association to be used at their discretion for businesses operating within PBID.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This item, you may recall, is the result of some discussions that we had with our downtown businesses. Prior to the proposed process before you tonight, we were utilizing the special event permit process for sidewalk sales. It was made known to us that this was a pretty cumbersome process, and so taking another look at that, we agreed. It's since been removed from that documentation. However, we were left with, coming up with a strategy on how to address these types of events. And so in working in partnership with our Downtown Property Owner Board and their Executive Director, Molly Amont, we've come up with the proposed item before you tonight where utilizing the language that's in the municipal code that states that this body is responsible for permitting sidewalk sales, we're asking that you please consider issuing the downtown property owners an annual permit for this type of activity, which is essentially sidewalk sales in the downtown corridor. This particular function will then be managed solely by the downtown property owners with, of course, the city's oversight ensuring that if there are any violations of other TMCs or general laws such as pedestrian access, the city will obviously intervene on those issues. We are confident in this strategy, and we believe that it will do much to expedite the process and better manage those types of activities in the downtown. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions or comments for Director Van Gilder? Any questions or comments from the audience? All right, bringing it back for a vote. Yes.
I have one comment to make. This particular item, you'll notice in your agenda, it was dated February 27th. It was inadvertently included in this packet. However, there was no time issue with that, so we decided to move forward to present it to you tonight. So we will need to make that change for the record, and then also on the permit itself, we'll change the issuance date to tonight.
Perfect. Thank you so much. What's the pleasure of the council? Have a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Bublak, second by Councilmember DeHart. Clerk, please call the roll.
Issuing a 2018 sidewalk sale annual permit to the Turlock Downtown Properties Owners Association, TDPOA, to be used at their discretion for businesses operating within the PBID. Councilmember Esquer?
Yes.
Councilmember DeHart?
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak?
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob?
Yes.
Mayor Soisette?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Thank you so much. Moving on to item 8C, a request to approve the raw water pump station Phase 1 project construction funding agreement to fund the city's portion of Phase 1 of the raw water pump station project for the Stanislaus Regional Water Authority Regional Surface Water Supply Project. Director Cook.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. In 2002-2003, Turlock Irrigation District constructed what's called an infiltration gallery in the bed of the Tuolumne River as part of their Tuolumne River Channel Restoration Project. And a infiltration gallery is a type of water intake structure, and I have some pictures on that in a second. So the Stanislaus Regional Water Authority, of which you are a member with the City of Ceres, and the Turlock Irrigation District plan to use the existing infiltration gallery as the river water intake facility for both the surface water treatment plant and for some irrigation purposes for TID. The Stanislaus Regional Water Authority recently approved bidding the construction of the raw water pump station Phase 1 project, and that includes an excavation of the area, construction of a wet well, test pumping of the piping, and pumping of river water to test it for water quality purposes. So this proposed agreement you're looking at tonight allows the three funding agencies, that's TID, City of Turlock, City of Ceres, to formalize the funding approach and commit to fund their respective shares of the project. So let me just review the project for you real quickly. You've seen this before. This is the Gear Road Bridge across the Tuolumne River near the city of Houston at the Foxgrove fishing access. The infiltration gallery is in the river there to the west of the Gear Road Bridge, and the planned water treatment plant site is up on the bluff there just above the Foxgrove Park. So the infiltration gallery, you see it right there, is actually buried in the bed of the river right now, and there'll be a pipeline from there under the bridge over to the raw water intake facility. So that small black square there is where the construction will occur in this phase of the project. So what does an infiltration gallery look like? This is what was installed a few years ago, as I said. Obviously, they rerouted the river so they could make it dry so they could do this work. But the infiltration gallery is a series of perforated pipes laying horizontally in the bed of the river. And then on top of that is about 2 feet of gravel, so it'll basically suck river water out of the bed of the river and carry it to the edge of the riverbank there. And you can see on the right-hand side, that diagram shows those 4 gray pipes that go into the bluff of the river. More on that. So this is what it looks like from above. You can picture this. So at the top of your picture, there's those 4 pipes leaving the river, and we'll construct basically a large box structure, a huge concrete coffin, let's call it that, standing on its edge, that will receive water from the river, and we'll pump it out from there. And it kind of looks like this when it's in the ground. So at the top there is the height of the river bluff right now, or the river bank, and this vault then will be dug actually below the depth of the river, and you can see the pipeline coming in from the left-hand side that will then flood that pit, and then from there we'll pump the water out of that pit over to the water treatment plant. A bit like a sewer lift station in some respects. And so this is what the site looked like this time last year exactly, if I look at the blossoms on the almond trees there. So this is when we had severe flooding, and I'll point it out, but the infiltration gallery will be right about here in this green area. So even in the worst case scenario where there's a breach of the levee and there's some inundation of the walnut orchard there, you see kind of in the top left of your screen, or to the right of the bridge, there was no impact of the high river levels to the infiltration gallery. So again, that's the project. I have one more thing. Okay, so there's an existing cost share agreement between the 3 agencies. TID pays 20%, the SRWA is responsible for 80%, and then that 80% is divided between Ceres and Turlock based on how much water they take, and we're basically a 2/3, 1/3 ratio. The overall cost of the project is about $8.3 million, and we're budgeting about $8.7 million with contingencies. And as you can see, the City of Turlock's share is about $4.4 million, assuming no contingencies, or $4.6 million with contingencies. In this year's budget, in the 2017-18 budget, we did budget $5 million for this project. So it's within the existing water fund, the 420 water enterprise account. So as you notice, there's no budget transfer as part of this project. This was already projected in this year's budget. And I think that's it. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions or comments for Director Cook? From the audience, any questions or comments from the audience? All right, bringing it back. What's the more comments, questions? What's the pleasure of the council? All right, do I have a second? Second. Okay, we have a motion by Vice Mayor Jacobs, seconded by Councilmember DeHart. Clerk, please call the roll.
Approving the raw water pump station Phase 1 project construction funding agreement to fund the city's portion of Phase 1 of the raw water pump station project for the Stanislaus Regional Water Authority Regional Surface Water Supply Project, and granting the city manager the authority to sign any documents relative to the raw water pump station Phase 1 project construction funding agreement. Councilmember Esquer?
Yes.
Councilmember DeHart?
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak?
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob?
Yes.
Mayor Soisek?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Thank you so much. Thanks so much, Michael. All right, moving on to staff updates. Policy goals, implementation plan, have none. Administrative services, a verbal and written report from Mayor Pitt.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. In addition to the report that was included in your packet on the dais, you have a copy of the third quarter of 17 sales tax report. This has some interesting information in it for your consideration. Unfortunately, for the third quarter of 17, the sales tax are dropped 2.9% over the same period of the previous year. And of that, you'll notice on the front page, underneath the picture, there's the line item food processing, which is at 210%, is a reflection of our efforts to work with some of our new industrial users to have them participate where we assist them in getting the the state portion of their use tax for manufacturing equipment purchases waived. That's a program through GoBiz. And then in exchange for that assistance, we asked them to accrue the sales tax completely to the city of Turlock, where it bypasses the county pool, which is why we're at 210%. What is interesting of that is if you go to the top 25 sales tax generators at the bottom, and highlighted in yellow is Chambon Sons, that's the contractor for Valley Milk,
that's one-time manufacturing equipment purchase that pierced our top 25. That's good news, and it's also cautionary news because it speaks to sort of the volatility of one-time dollars that we're able to accrue. And then lastly of note, on the last page is the graph. At the top of the page, the city of Turlock, in this variation with the black and gray, is the line with the large hump, and then it jogs down, but you'll see that I've circled kind of where we are. And that again sort of speaks to the volatility where over the last fiscal year, we didn't quite make our sales tax projections. And we're hoping for Turlock to track at least at 4.9% for the Christmas quarter, that we don't have the Board of Equalization data in for that yet. But we're hoping that we'll track with what the MasterCard was projecting in terms of a 4.9% increase over the previous year in sales tax. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments for Marin on this? I appreciate it. Oh, yes, Councilmember T.R.
Marin, just a quick update. This comes in, what, the end of March, the final sales tax? Is that
Usually, yeah, it's usually at least a 3-month lag between the end of the quarter and when we get our information from Board of Equalization. Now, not to provide any more gloom and doom and Debbie Downer kind of information, but there's also a new study that was out by A.T. Kearney, who is a noted economist, on the visions of shopping centers. That they believe that over the next 13 years, 40% of all consumers will be digital and digital natives, meaning that they're used to purchasing via digital outlets, which may start to change how we recoup sales tax, because a lot of those we don't. If you buy something on Amazon, it's kind of hit and miss. In a lot of cases, you don't pay the sales tax. So, it just sort of adds to the uncertainty over a long view of what may come.
Thank you so much, Mayor. All right, we just have a written report from the Development Services Department and also from Parks, Recreation, and Facilities. Matters too late for the agenda, non-agenda items, looking at the city manager and city attorney, seeing none. Council items for future consideration, Councilmember Bublak.
I have two. One would be that we bring back a discussion about the permit fees for water softeners. A constituent asked me about it. The permit itself costs more than the water softener equipment. So I think that seems like we need to address it. Secondly, we all received a letter from Jeffrey Lewis about healthcare, and he's offering to meet with us and have a workshop and talk about how we can work some of that information into actually a positive. So I would ask that we can schedule that. And thirdly, thank you, Interim City Manager, for telling me that you're gonna put something on the agenda, but you said it's gonna be the end of March. I've been asking since September about critical positions and about succession planning and specifically about having department heads in a municipal code that says that they can only do it for 4 weeks. So I really would hope that my colleagues would encourage everyone or him to have it sooner than the end of March. It's been a long time coming. And those are all my requests.
Really quickly on the permit fees, I believe that that's something Kelly Jacobs Hunter we just talked about, or Eric Pachano, we were talking about those fees are going to be coming back to us holistically on not just water softeners, but a lot of other things.
The permit fees that will be coming back to you soon will be the engineering department's permit
Mhm.
fees relative to the subdivisions and sidewalk, but not buildings. What Ms. Kulak is discussing after our building department fees, but it's related to the hot water. And so the permit's bring that as a separate.
Okay, perfect. I think that those go hand in hand. We were talking about engineering versus building for those that are watching out there. And then as far as Mr. Lewis, I actually met with him as well, and I think it's a great idea for him to come, and he offered to make a presentation to us to talk about his what he can offer and looking at healthcare. So I think that should be soon. And then I believe, City Manager, if you can make sure you pull the council, see if they want to adhere resources to the request from Councilmember Bublak, that would be good. Moving on, council comments. All right. Oh yes, Councilmember Scare.
Couple of quick comments. I'm sorry that Mark Goldman's not here. I wanted to thank him. I don't know if anybody got a chance to really thank him for the work over in the church on Orange. So, they completed that.
Where is he?
The neighborhood jumped up and said, hey, thank you. They're all noticing. Allison, if you can maybe pass the word, because, and just say they appreciate it. I got phone calls, and I like those. They're much better than the other ones. And also, at the same time, I wanted to thank Allison and Eric Schultz and Wayne from the city yard out there. They took me on a little tour of the city yard and showed me what kind of facility we have out there, and they actually got to go and watch them repair potholes. So I got to see that process, and so thank you for educating me in the process and everything. There's one thing that, again, I'm not sure if this would be future consideration or council comments, but I've also got some questions on the maintenance of the Khalifa statue. So I was wondering if we can find a place to bring that forward sometime so we can discuss it. I know it's one of the things that Allison and Eric gave me some information, but I think it's some information we need to share with the community so that they know that something is being worked on. We are looking at it, and it's not falling on deaf ears. So that's it.
Yeah, I think that we should be able to agendize that hopefully soon and get that going. Anything else on comments? Moving on, closed session. City Attorney, what do we have?
Thank you, Mayor. We're going to adjourn to closed session to consider items 13A, B, C, and D. Conference with labor negotiator for the city manager position, conference with real property negotiators, and all the information is set forth on the agenda for that item, and then conference with legal counsel existing litigation, and the information relative to that item is also set forth on the agenda.
Perfect. Well, let's all take a look at the clock at 8:15 for the record. No, thank you so much. Gladys left from the NAACP, but she was instrumental in working with us on the Inclusivity Summit and with this proclamation. So it was great to have her along. Motion to adjourn. Second. All right. We have a motion by Councilmember DeHart, seconded by Vice Mayor Jacob. All those in favor say aye. Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you.